Jesus Christ, Kenny.
Jesus Christ.
It's been a long ass time since you've been here.
Or it's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
Oh my goodness, who is that? It's been even longer since we've had... Who is that?
Nick.
It's Nick! And I'm just here. Got him, man.
He's
now, let me tell you, Kenny.
Alright, I'm listening.
He won't admit to it, but he is a Freemason because I don't know what he does every Sunday, but he disappears. It's Nick!
Whoa!
I'm here to haunt you.
Oh, hell yes. It's spooky and sexy. Now, Nick.
Illuminati.
We got the 2016 champion of the Milwaukee Backyard Wrestling Federation. It's Kenny!
Yeah, I'm getting a little fat now, but it's okay.
Yeah, he's getting a little fat, but let me tell you, he was the only luchador in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
The only one there.
Yeah,
the only one?
Cheese.
Yeah, they didn't actually know that he has no Hispanic heritage at all.
No, because I was wearing a mask.
That's the point.
See, but that's like that's how you know, like, you're legit though. You're doing it to the point, you know, where nobody even knows.
I don't want to be
exactly.
known. I'm the man of mystery.
You are
man of
second
mystery.
To Austin
You're
Powers,
Mr. Kenny Mystery, Mr.
Mystery.
Mr. Mystery Kenny.
We know Austin Powers from
Kenstery.
England, and we don't know that Kenny's not from España. Here at Dungeon Junkies, Real Talk. Where we talk about the latest episode of Dungeon Junkies and all that's going on in Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing and all the goodness that we can get into in the last week.
Yeah.
And I feel like we got a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about.
We got a lot to talk about. Now, I'm going to be real with you, too, because you weren't here. Kenny, you skipped off on a little vacation.
I did.
And we did a little adventuring over at RPG Hour, and we've talked about that. We talked about that on the last Real Talk.
I missed out.
So, is there anything you want to mention about, because you didn't get to talk about them then? And actually, Nick, neither did you. So, is there anything you want to mention about them before we continue on? Real quick. We'll get into it. Kenny,
I'm always quick.
Quick, go.
I really enjoy having another crew of people to just show up and play games with, and they've been playing games so much longer than we have. You know,
don't make them seem old.
They're
super young.
They're only a couple years older.
Actually, yeah, they just got luckier than us.
Yeah, we've been playing together. We're coming up on 2 years now playing with each other.
Yes,
and we play with each other every Friday, and that's how we've been doing it for almost 2 years now. And they have, 13 plus years more of experience.
We actually, because you skipped away to Reno on your little, I'm gonna keep myself sane vacation. During the last trip, they did a little number crunching and found out they began playing in 2001.
Oh, yeah.
Which means 18 years.
Yeah.
So it's more than the last time. Yeah, so 18 years of role playing.
Yeah.
That's and to put that into perspective, if you were a child and
just 18 years ago.
and you went to school, that's like going to school for 18 years and doing nothing but like tabletop games.
Yeah, what a bunch of nerds.
What a bunch of really smart nerds. Because holy shit, we learned so much.
Yeah, I appreciate them a ton. Every time we go, I've learned a lot from them, and they always give really good advice to us. And it's also cool to just have like a new group of friends just to hang out with.
Absolutely.
And just do stuff with, and it's really cool. I appreciate them a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I love going down there and hanging out.
Yeah, I want to hear what you have to say about them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like learning a bunch of new games.
Yeah.
Just like seeing what else is out there. Kind of dipping your toes in the water. So that's been really fun. Yeah, like I really enjoyed Spy Master.
Yeah.
It was a really great game. Even though we had definitely had more of a humorous touch to it. It was very Austin Power-esque, you know,
with a dark turn at the end.
Yeah, it was fun. It was definitely really fun. I loved Chad. Chad was so much fun to play.
He will return,
and he will. Well, I mean, oh man, I want to say it, but
that's
like
the character you get from now on. He gave
know.
you that out.
I know.
Yeah.
So I mean, I am
Chad.
Chad 53.
You know, and so it's cool. I enjoyed playing Honor too.
Yes.
It was
Kenny wasn't there for that.
I enjoyed Spymaster more. Honor, I think if I had more time with Honor, I would like it more. Part of the reason I didn't like it as much is because the mechanics of it were kind of hard for me to understand fully, and I think that there were some aspects of it that we really didn't get to play around with much. Like, for instance, we had the different honor systems.
Yes.
Right, but we never really got to explore what happens if we change those and how that affects.
Well, I would actually it's not so much that we didn't get to, is that it wasn't it like, if you say we didn't get to, it kind of puts that on the GM, whereas that's not on his case. It was kind of like the game didn't allow you to, almost.
Yeah,
you had to wait
that's
too
definitely
long.
That's definitely fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's certainly not a malicious thing
right,
at all.
Right. It was
I just
like
if there was more
implement it quickly enough.
If it was exactly. If it was implemented faster.
To call it honor, and then I have to wait for a 6-hour sit down for it to see any kind of effect.
Exactly.
Maybe that's not really what the game is about. Maybe there's something else.
Yeah. So,
I definitely understand that.
You know what I mean? So I think that overall, if I had more time, and I think too, if I actually had the book, so
that was the other
if I could actually,
I could
actually, because even if I just got to read it one time and then use the cheat sheets, that would certainly, be awesome. But one thing, I mean, huge shout out to RPG Hour for having those sheets available. I mean, he must have spent a lot of time on that, and we were very appreciative of being able to provide that for us. It was really great. So I love going down there, and like you were saying, just having more people to play games with, especially veterans who introduce us to new games.
And I
so
noticed,
it's worth it.
I think that we have improved as players, and I think I've improved as a DM purely by going over there and getting advice from them.
Me as well, yes.
And it's really cool. We've talked about for so long, like, I wonder what it would be like to play with other people.
Yeah, that's the super nerdy thing about us.
Right.
As players,
we have a mad bromance, and we've always had each other to play with.
Exactly. We
play with each other all the time, every Friday.
Extremely lucky to be able to play with each other.
We're very lucky.
Well, and I have so many friends too who, who want to play D&D, but they can't find anybody to DM, or they, you know what I mean. So they just never get the opportunity to play.
Right.
And ever since we all started playing together, I mean, it's been pretty consistent.
Yeah, we all DM too.
It's been the most consistent group I think you could ever hope for.
Absolutely.
I think
we're fortunate.
Extremely fortunate. I'm not sure, and that's the most obvious evidence of how fortunate we are. I'm not sure how often most groups get together. Is it once a month? 2 times a month? Once a week? We get together once a week. We get to play every week.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2 times if we're...
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's way more than most people get to play. And
for sure.
And it makes you very fortunate, or it makes you realize how fortunate you are, and it makes you very grateful when you get to play with other groups, because we've been in this bubble where, yes, we've been able to play every week, but it's only been with ourselves. So being able to leave that bubble and play with other, to be able to gather all of us as players and get with a GM who is new and be able to figure out, are we actually good? Or are we just full of ourselves?
Yeah.
And that's a very fun thing to find out.
Yeah, and that's it's really fun to especially have all of us as a group be able to be players together.
Yes.
Because that brings a really interesting dynamic, I guess. And it spices things up because we have a lot of fun every time we play. I don't think there are any sit downs where we have not all had a good time.
Yes, and I think that was super evident. And we didn't get to see it so much in Honor because we weren't all there.
Right.
But when we were there for Spymaster, Larry was sitting there saying, "Oh my goodness, my cheeks are hurting from smiling so much, from laughing so much."
Yeah.
Like,
I'm really funny. I laugh like 30 times.
We were all having a blast.
Oh, so much fun. So much fun.
And I actually feel sorry for him so much because when any one of you, lucky for Nick, he hasn't had the unfortunate chance of having to DM for us. Yet. Yeah. But once you realize having to wrangle us all together and to keep us going in one direction is kind of a pain in the ass. But getting all of us together, and I think honestly the worst part,
especially with a new game that nobody had played. So we're brand new players to that specific, and so we're still trying to we're learning the mechanics of the game while at the same time
fucking around
trying to wrangle us together.
Now, I actually I would consider that normally yes. I would counter argument that Mr. RPG Hour actually handled it in a way that made it the easiest he could have, giving us the cheat sheets and things like that. Like, I don't know if I would have done that, and I think for me it would have been much more difficult. Like he handled
exactly.
Like
he handled it
right,
great,
and it was so easy because of how he did it.
Yeah, I think what was really interesting, and maybe this was just what I understood, was when we went over that, because when we do Dungeon Junkies, of course, we're goofing around, we role play, it's like half role playing, half fucking around.
Right.
I would say we have a good dynamic. We want people to feel like they're sitting here with us having a good time with their friends. And I think that's the goal we wanted from the beginning. We want people to join us on our cool fucking adventures and essentially hang out with us, right? So we're half role-playing, we're half having a good time, we're joking around, we're having conversations. And I think the vibe I got when we initially went over there was like, hey, because they do a podcast as well. And the vibe I got was we are going to, role-play the whole time. Pretty much any talking or anything outside of that, we're going to cut that out. But I think as we started playing and he was laughing the whole time and Mrs. RPG Hour was laughing the whole time, I feel like they almost flipped, like, okay, like, this is what the Dungeon Junkies do. They show up and they fucking kill shit and they have a good time and they laugh and they make other people laugh, and I thought that was the vibe I got.
I had the same initial thought. I countered that also with
Dick.
With Dick. No, with the fact that most of our joking was not out of character.
Mm-hmm.
Most of like Chad, for instance, the jokes were his character.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that is the essence of role-playing.
So, while he may have been thinking, okay, out of character stuff does get cut, most of our jokes and our humor level, it was not out of character. And while it was a more humorous sense, he was very he went into it knowing what we were like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he said, okay, I could have looked at this as a as a 007.
Yes.
Your James Bond kind of thing, and everything's serious, and maybe there's a little fantasy aspect to it.
Yeah.
You know, there's that little bit, but it's 007. Or we could go Austin Powers, maybe kind of style, and he definitely went heavier to the Naked Gun, Austin Powers, parody spy style.
Yeah,
which
for sure.
100% fits in with our play style.
And like you said, they both listen to our podcast and they enjoy it, and they know how we are. So coming into it, it was cool for them to be like, this isn't gonna be like a completely serious 007. We want that. We want this to be a comedy.
This is a Dungeon Junkies episode.
You're funny spies. This is what we want, because we think you guys can deliver that comedy aspect.
And hopefully we did.
I hope we did.
I hope we did too.
I think we did.
I can't wait to listen to it, and
yeah,
it was so much fun.
It will be soon. But oh my goodness, it's been. We spent like half an hour on the last episode. Now you beautiful motherfuckers weren't there, but you're here now, and we spent almost 15 minutes, almost a quarter of an hour, spewing about them guys. We're gonna make them cry if we keep talking about them. We need to talk about ourselves, make ourselves feel good, because we feel like shit. So let's bring ourselves up.
I always feel like shit.
We always feel like shit until we talk about the latest episode of Dungeon Junkies. So guys, we just sat down and we just played a pretty goddamn fun episode. Now it's been.
Glad you guys had a good time.
I had a great time. It's been a while since we sat down. It's been 2 weeks now for me.
It's been 2 weeks.
It's been a while.
That doesn't sound the same.
It doesn't sound the same.
2 weeks.
It works for me.
It's been 2 weeks.
Been a fortnight.
It works for everybody here. Now, we're very spoiled, like we said earlier, and we get to play very often. So, not getting to play with each other for 2 weeks is kind of a big deal.
It is.
And,
it's a long break.
And I blame Kenny for that. I think I'm not alone in that.
Yeah.
Definitely all you get.
It's my fault.
I
blame it on my family.
Yeah, it was like he needed some recuperation, some well-deserved time off, and
I was homesick.
It's all about that vacation, y'all.
Yeah, a little bit ridiculous if you ask me, and I think everybody here would agree. Because you guys had to wait 1 week without a brand new episode. That's crazy.
Yes. I am sorry to our listeners of Real Talk.
I think Kenny doesn't put enough work in if you guys have to go a whole year without one episode. This is fucking crazy, and he does it for free.
But
www.patreon.com/dungeonjunkies.
But we really hope that you enjoyed the Ravnica episode.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because we know you guys are going to, because we had a lot of fun making it.
Ravnica, I always enjoy... I don't know if I like being a player more or a DM more.
It's hard. I can't wait till Nick gets to decide.
Yes. When I get to play, I forget... I forget everything. What it's like to play, because as a DM, there's no surprises really with the story, at least. Like, I know what's going to happen. I know what areas you'll be at. I know all these things, but getting to jump into somebody else's world, especially the world of Ravnica, is something that took me a little while to understand what it was like. Was super cool, and that if you have not checked it out, it was one of my favorite sessions. This whole Ravnica series has just been phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
I really truly enjoy the characters. Like, they're definitely some of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
That we've been playing. It's great to like play with Kenny again.
Yeah.
Like, actually in a session.
All my characters are so like impulsive, and
well,
I can't spoil anything because episode 1 was more so an introduction episode. But
yes.
Blix he's such a fun character, and things happen later on. So if you want to support us,
Now,
check that shit out. It's fun.
the original Disaster with Kenny's first character, his Dungeons and Dragons character, that was not recorded, correct?
No.
Okay.
That was maybe, I think that was like my first, or I think that was my first session with Alex DMing in his campaign. It was either the first or second.
No, it had to be the first.
I think it was the very first.
He burned down the main villain's mansion
Lit it on fire.
in the most beautiful, like, oh, why don't we just kill him this way? And since then, he has had the habit, slash legacy, I guess, almost, of just defeating the enemy in the most sensible way possible. I had a campaign that I intricately designed, and honestly,
now that you mention it, I've done that, 5 times? I did it with Naraku,
yes,
with all the wolves,
yes,
and my assassin. I did it. Then the next sit down with Alex, which was that one, I burned the house down with the main bad guy.
You burned the house, and it was like the main mansion of the city that held all the bad guys. So it caused a riot throughout the whole city of all the common folk. They helped us.
That's awesome.
And then let me see, what else did I do it with?
You went through the pirate ship that I had.
Yes.
I had designed a pirate ship. You go through this pirate ship. The whole ship is a dungeon, almost.
Naraku's such a badass.
It was Naraku.
Assassin.
And at the end of the ship is basically the pirates were docked in this port as they were on their journey to give monsters to an arena. Where it's like, okay, we captured these monsters. We're going to sell them to you. But also their treasure was at the bottom. Like, you had to get past these monsters to get to their treasure. Naraku had broke into the ship.
He
snuck out while everyone was sleeping at night, taking their long rest. Naraku just decided, I don't really need my long rest. And he went out by himself. Into the dungeon of... Now, this is maybe Kenny's second or third sit down. So he doesn't really understand what he's doing.
Yeah.
No.
Let's be clear.
I'm going into a dungeon by myself.
He goes into the pirate ship by himself. This is the dungeon that I have created. I'm like, okay, Kenny wants to go into this dungeon by himself. I'll let him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't get any warning. It was just like, yeah, do it. Cool.
How do you want to get into this? Okay, I want to sneak in through a porthole. I swim up and sneak through a porthole. Oh shit, that's smart. I don't have anybody guarding portholes. Why would I have somebody guarding portholes? Roll your sneak. 24, 23, some
His
shit
stats
like that.
It's
insane.
By the way.
Naraku's stats are almost almost every
max.
single thing is a +4 or +5.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
nuts.
The best stats I've seen of any random, and he rolled them random in front of us, and it was just like, what the fuck?
First sit down.
So it's like 20 plus to sneak in through a porthole, to climb in through where the cannon is. He sneaks in through there. And this will continue through the whole thing. I make him roll for almost every. He's like, okay, I want to do this. Roll sneak. I want to do this. Roll sneak. It was 5+ sneak rolls I make him do.
Holy shit.
He gets all the way to the bottom of the ship, and he unlatches the lock where the monsters are caged, and he lets the monsters loose in the middle of the night, and he sneaks out through the ship. So through the night, I had spine devils in the hold of the ship, and so throughout the night, 2 spine devils fight the pirates throughout the whole night, and then in the morning, him and everybody else, and Alex and Alessandro
go to the dungeon
and there was like one guy following them, followed to the pirate ship. It's okay, this is when you're supposed to fight them. Everybody's dead except for one spine devil.
One spine devil.
And they killed them instantly. And that was actually when you showed up and you fire breathed them in the face.
Yeah.
With Boslar?
With Boslar. Yeah, so I think he might have showed up in the sit down before you, and then he was like, hey, I got my buddy Nick, and we were like, bring him!
Yeah.
It was like, I remember that too when that happened, because I had played D&D once with my old roommates, and then I started listening to D&D podcasts. And I did that for like literally a year, but didn't have anybody to play with. And then
we were both listening to Adventure Zone.
We were talking about Adventure
All
Zone
the time.
together. And like every single week, I'd hit you up and be like, every 2 weeks,
Yo,
I was like, "Yo, did you listen to the new
Adventure
episode?"
Zone.
And then then you started playing and you invited me, and
Yeah, it was like maybe two sit down.
and then like what, like maybe 3 months later, we were like, "Hey, let's make a podcast. Why not?"
Yeah.
The worst thing that could happen is that nobody listens to it, but we still play D&D.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just
You
like,
know?
It's just like, hey, we're fucking hilarious sometimes. So
We're mildly entertaining
At
at best.
yeah, mildly entertaining at best. We should just start. Let's just throw a mic up and record it, and then when this all started, it's nuts.
Yeah, it's been a really, really, really awesome journey.
I'm just so glad everything has occurred.
Me too.
Uh,
So, in shortcut wise, with my characters, just kind of pedaling back a little bit. I really like getting to play. For some reason, I can't help it with my characters. They're just impulsive, and I make really dumb decisions. And I would say a lot of the time they end up being really awesome, and we get to see that a lot in Ravnica.
Well, I would say maybe Kenny, that isn't role-playing very much.
I know.
Shame. Maybe just Kenneth is an impulsive person.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to role-play some little thinking.
I would really like to jump out of... I'd really like to do a campaign as a player where I'm something maybe less chaotic neutral and more like lawful good, like a paladin.
Okay, that's hard.
Yes.
Lawful good is hard, and as we've seen, Alex has had a lot of problems with that. It's hard figuring out what to do.
Alex, you suck for not being here. I know you're editing.
Fuck you, Alex. I love you.
Alex. I love you. Anyway.
But I think the easiest thing to do would be to go chaotic neutral, because I think
There's wiggle room in that.
right there's wiggle room.
There's wiggle room.
Exactly.
You can really
It's flexible.
You can really do anything to an extent that you want and justify it as something you're doing for your benefit.
Now, so
To an extent.
the thing I find about chaotic neutral is it gives you the ability to develop your character.
Yes,
For,
absolutely.
Allows them to make choices.
Exactly.
And that are not necessarily predefined.
Now, if you're lawful good, lawful evil, whatever, there's the extremes of the spectrum. Those are the predefined, like you were saying, like
Right, exactly. Like
exactly.
if you're
Those
going
are
to
predefined. Whereas if you're chaotic good, essentially you're a hero. How you are a hero hasn't quite been defined yet.
Yeah.
And that's fine for your characters, and it's good for you. It's okay for you to have each character that you have a chaotic good. You have to find out how is each one different. How is Blix different from
Yeah.
I can't remember. God damn it! Who is the
Naraku. And Damien.
Damien.
Damien
How
is
are
my
they?
tiefling.
Now Blix is the most different. I'd say.
Blix is a little different, but that's purely because we've gotten more role playing experience. So Naraku's a little. I didn't get to play with him much, but he's a little more quiet and mysterious. And
Right.
I think that's partially because I was kind of nervous when I started playing with you guys. I didn't know you guys as well. Damien opened up a little more, not quite as quiet, a little more impulsive. But Blix, obviously, like getting to know you guys so well, I, as a person, have been able to open up more, and Blix is more of an uplifting character who makes dumb decisions. I don't even want to say dumb. He's not
rational, or
he's
rash
yeah.
decisions.
he will make more, I guess, logical, impulsive decisions, if that makes sense.
Yes.
But he's not, like, on that spectrum of, like, chaotic like the others are. He's more uplifting and happy, and he's, he's just doing his best.
Yeah, I like that about Blix. I think a big part of what went into Bruce was
I love Bruce.
Bruce
yeah,
is great.
Bruce
like
is
He's so much different.
Every word he says is worth like 1,000 almost.
Yeah.
He's much more like situational.
Yes.
Like with like it. Part of the reason why Bruce is the way he is, though, is truly because I have negatives in both my intelligence and my wisdom.
Yeah.
That's a great role play.
And
it's
so,
fantastic.
and that's part of the reason why he is slower. And I definitely took some like inspiration from like Groot.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I wanted to give him a little bit more, you know. But even like those fun riffs that we get off each other with Bruce, or when Bruce is saying his name over, that's all he's saying is the same thing over and over
Like,
again.
I'm Bruce.
But
it was like, you sure are, buddy.
but everybody else plays off of it. You know what I mean?
Like,
And
Bruce,
like.
go fight that guy, Bruce. And they're like, I'm Bruce.
And then you just murder it.
Yeah. I just think it's funny that, Walter is very like, bro, I don't care. Like, I just want to die.
Fuck it.
I'm going to follow you guys. And then I almost see Blix as kind of like I don't want to say the leader, but like he kind of guides everybody. Or at least guides Bruce.
Walter
does too.
I view Blix more as like he's guiding people when nobody's asking him to.
Yeah, he just does what he wants.
And but at the same time, I don't know. I still feel like Walter is the like the person who pushes things along. Just because he's like old and Blix is like the young youthful guy coming in.
Yeah, I feel like there's a weird like combo between the two.
It's such a cool. It's such an odd.
It's a very odd combination
because
of adventurers.
I definitely feel like because Walter does not have the let's push forward attitude,
right?
And Blix is very much like, on to the next thing. Like we continue. Exactly. And Walter is like, well, if we were going to, this is how we should.
Yeah.
But I would prefer we just all died.
Yeah.
By ourselves alone.
and Blix is so positive.
I've been trying to die for 75 years now.
Blix is so positive.
I can't die.
He
Isn't that like part of his mission now? Is like
not yet.
It's
yes.
that's right.
Eventually, a druid loses the ability to age, and that's going to be the most depressing thing for Walter.
That's so good.
God.
It's so good.
He's gonna hate himself once he gains the ability to not die of old age.
I'm so excited to do Ravnica again.
Yeah,
me too.
Ravnica is a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Gosh darn it, guys, we can't talk about Ravnica because if we want to talk about that, you motherfuckers, you cheap bitches, you beautiful cheap bitches, have to pay $1 to hear about Ravnica.
One whole ass dollar.
One whole ass dollar. We're gonna only talk about the free one.
Okay,
here.
and
Actually, the main one.
Because quite honestly, we have like excluding
episode to
Ravnica,
talk about.
we have a lot to talk about in this episode because there was a lot of stuff that happened. So first and foremost, we actually made it to the Council of 12, which was super stoked about it. I really liked how we kind of went through the portal, but it was more like space. It kind of felt, or like time and space kind of deal.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like a prison, in a sense. And
Kind of, yeah.
and let me explain.
For them?
Yes, and let me explain.
Okay, interesting.
Let me
I didn't
explain
think about
why.
that, but now, yes.
Because here's the thing: is literally they said verbatim
They can't leave.
We can't leave or do anything.
And you were asking, why can't you do shit?
Exactly. So, and that was because they need the spirit of the 12th member to essentially, it feels almost like a, so once the 12 mages, this is my theory, once the 12 mages are able to bring, or once we're able to bring back Unquavius, once we're able to bring him back to life, at that point, it'll complete their power.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so at that point, I think that that is going to be paramount for us being able to save the world and actually like win the battle.
Yeah, that will definitely turn the tides of battle, and that's something they did state was like,
yeah,
you know, our power is pretty limited where we are at, and they didn't really specify why they were there or anything like that. They gave you a lot of useful information, but they didn't tell you why they were there, but they did tell you, like, hey, help us, and we can kind of help you in return.
I wonder if they'll be able to kill Dashu.
Well, so I'm interested in the fact that we may be able to go back in time, and the fact that this Council of 12 is not necessarily tied to the timeline we are in now. Like, if this is the same Council of 12 that was the council when Unquavius sacrificed himself to kill Dashushu the first time, then, like, if these guys are stuck in a tower somewhere in some mystical place that we have to discover in the 2 years previous to before we had the time jump and everything went to shit, we could discover them beforehand, correct? Or maybe, like, they're not necessarily tied to things going to shit.
Let's for funsies.
Oh, I like that.
Let's play this scenario.
Okay. Butt stuff?
Yep.
Oh yeah. All right, and that's all I got. No, so what we do is we request actually to be sent back to the original party, where they
to their timeline.
To their timeline when they
the
still no. We could choose that in. We can here. Okay, here's
right.
Here's the fucked up part. We could do it before the carnival, right? And then when we get to the carnival episode, we say, don't go in there. You're going to lose the heart. And look, we're from the future. This shit's super fucked. Don't do it. Trust me. And then we continue on the normal path that we were taking before. Yeah. Which was heading to Mage Marsh so that we could prevent Dashushu from resurrection. So we could go back in time, and it's not going to alter any of our characters, number one, because we were still alive. Yes. Even during the times, these characters that we have aren't ancient. It's only been
6 months.
Yeah, it's only been 6 months and 2 years and 6 months.
Yeah. I think we're all missing an obvious opportunity here.
There's a lot
that is for us to not for us to travel back in time to that time, but maybe 2 days beforehand to the airship, to an all new crossover episode with our new character.
Where we have
three characters.
Exactly.
We had to switch between 3 of our different characters. Oh, fuck me.
If you haven't listened to the airship
if you haven't listened to the airship, you definitely need to listen to that arc. It is hands down one of my favorite arcs.
Hands down.
So much fun. Hands down, bro.
We could add a third level of Inception to it.
Yes.
So, okay. And we're talking about this episode. We're not talking about season 1 now.
Oh,
so
goodness.
That was my first thing.
Nick.
Yes. So that was my first thing, was the whole the time traveling thing. And just all that we learned in general about
so much.
about the past that clarified things that can help us prevent worse things in the future.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Another thing is we finally got titles.
Yes, you did.
We finally got titles after getting just like fucking filled to the brim with power. And,
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be real. I'm sorry, because Kenny's here. If I could have had a title, Heroes of Cock, maybe not the first one I would have chosen.
It's okay.
I'll put it in the top 3, but maybe not number 1.
I should have made Masters
maybe,
of Cock.
okay, see, well, now we got Masters in there. That could be number 1.
I
Hero
like.
is a stronger word than Master, though.
No, I think Heroes is...
Look. No. I'm thinking.
I think
I'm
Masters is stronger, but not necessarily positive.
Yes.
That's very true, but I also think that it kind of has that bad boy vibe.
Exactly.
With the Masters of Cock.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If he would have been like Masters of Cock, I would have been like, ooh, yeah, top of my
I think that's the worst thing I've said in 2019.
Masters of
Bad
Cock
Boys of Cock.
could be misinterpreted.
Well, we would have to be like the apex member of the faction to be the Masters of Cock.
You could have shown up.
We actually
Very
weren't.
true.
You know, hypothetical, if you showed up to, let's jump forward a little bit in the episode to the Triton Army, and you showed up, and they're so happy to see you. Masters of Cock are here, yes! Then you gotta suck all their dicks.
Whoa.
Because that's what they're thinking. Oh, they're the Masters of Cock. They're
That's what
really
the
good
Masters
at
of-
sucking these dicks.
That's what the Masters of the Coalition of Cataclysmic Knowledge do. They suck dicks.
Possibly.
They don't learn.
But he used Heroes of Cock is. I feel like there's a battle aspect.
I think
here's
it's a better choice.
I
agree with
think
you.
I think too, and the reason is it's you know what? My opinion doesn't matter, guys.
It matters.
We've said cock about 80 times in the past
100 times, 1,000 times.
That's
2
okay.
minutes. But no, super excited about the titles. And then we got the bullshit going on with the Titans right now.
Tritons.
Excuse me, Tritons, not the Titans. They're not a football team. I was really excited when they were excited that we showed up.
Yeah.
I
I thought that was cool. I am curious on if the Council of 12 had told them that they were sending us, or how they knew about us specifically, or who let them know that we were going to be, because it was a very inviting and like, oh my god, were they expecting us, or was it kind of random?
It was never stated, but directly. But yes, they knew that you were going.
I was
to
going
be
to say,
there.
I kind of got the feeling that they weren't surprised we showed up.
exactly.
Yeah, that was kind of like when they saw you guys approaching, and one of them turned around and noticed, and they were like, "Oh, it's the heroes."
We're like the Gandalf at the end of the Twin Towers. Or the two. Hold on.
At the first light at the dawn of the second
Okay,
day,
we're gonna have
look
to
the
completely
east, or some shit like
take
that.
that out and redo that, because I said Twin Towers, not Two Towers.
Oh shit!
Well, I didn't even
High
catch
five!
it.
9/11!
9/11! Yeah!
Woo! 9/11.
That was
Gandalf.
an unintentional 9/11
Hail
joke.
Satan.
Hail Satan.
Oh
Gandalf
god,
got
Gandalf
your
did
back.
9/11.
man.
Gandalf saved everybody that didn't
From
die.
9/11.
Yeah. Actually, it could have been
It was,
10,000 people that died at 9/11.
No, bro, it was
except for Gandalf.
Saruman and George W. Bush.
Saruman and George
Bush,
W.
I'll never
Bush.
forgive you.
And fuck you too, Saruman.
I mean, my conspiracy theory hasn't really built a
I
strong
love
following,
that.
but
We'll get into that on Twitter. George W. Bush and Saruman.
9/11?
At me, bro. At me.
At George Bush.
At Dungeon
Official.
Junkies.
I don't know.
Fuck you, at me. Anyways,
So I kind of want to go to Twitter right now and post Saruman plus George W. Bush equals 9/11 question mark.
All right. So we went through so many goddamn fucking adventures as our fucking characters, and we all died in this episode because of fucking Kenny.
Yeah.
Fuck you, you piece of shit.
Shit.
We didn't. But we do have a certain amount of time before we drown. It's very close towards us dying. We're not that far away. We're 3 days before we're all dead.
I
TPK in 3 days.
I think one thing that is a positive, potentially a negative, is that there is this battle going on right now, because we don't know how long this battle could potentially take. But, counter that, when this battle is done, these guys were expecting us. We're gonna get the help we need to find what we need.
Right.
Yeah.
What we need.
You know
is
what I mean?
Oxygen.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's that's kind of the bad part of the battle, is we don't know how long this thing's gonna be. Because we do have 72 hours, so we gotta finish it up quick, or we're gonna have to, while this battle's going on, we are gonna have to do what we do best and kind of stumble through the world until we find what we need.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we do best.
Most definitely.
It's not that you'll necessarily get TPK'd after the 3 days. It's just you won't have the ability to be under the water like you are.
Right. We just have to.
Which is where the
towards the end of day 3, maybe start swimming towards the surface.
Man, I had this, like, I kind of envisioned like this, because I didn't know if we were gonna be in water or if we were gonna have like airlock containers, you know, where there was a city that was encased in like a huge, almost like a bubble.
Like Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, exactly, kind of like that, where you're not going to be in water the entire time. They're going to have their own sort of
which may be the case because we haven't been to the cities yet.
Yeah, that's very true. So I'm very excited to go exploring just like the ocean in general. We've been doing a lot of water like themed episodes, and that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it.
There's so many things, just ocean themes and water themes, even pirate themes that I've been wanting to do since we started. I think that was one of the first ideas I had, was for a pirate theme.
Yeah.
And I've kind of done like just little tidbits of it here and there, but I really wanted this to be like the extreme ocean adventure for our group.
It is definitely pretty extreme because we done got sunk and we're getting towards the bottom of the ocean.
I feel like this, like, season 2 has been a lot more dramatic than season 1 was.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a slightly different tone.
Everything's more there's like much the consequences are more serious.
That, and I don't know. I think part of it, is because we are the core group. We have a good synergy, and
we have a better dynamic.
We have a good dynamic, but also we kind of had common goals in the story, from a storyline perspective. So yeah, it just feels more serious, which is like good, because I like kind of like that kind of dramatic feeling to it.
Yeah. Well, the direction is there. It's like you're saying, we're more serious, but we're the characters are more serious about the story. So when the story is a kind of like, shown to our characters, we address it in a manner that's more appropriate almost in season 1. Maybe not appropriate, but in season 1 we were all like, hey, we got jokes, and we're all funny and shit. Whereas now we like, well, what would my character do?
The role playing's better. So what I wanted with this season, I think I've briefly talked about it, is pretty much like these demon and devil armies are invading kind of like the inland of the continent, and spreading outwards. So think of them starting like around like where the Boyata tree was, and they're kind of expanding out.
Oh,
and
specifically from there?
No.
Oh shit. Okay, I was like, did we really
I was
fuck
just
up?
I was just using that as a centerpiece.
Okay.
But expanding from there and destroying, like Vandoria is not far from there. So they are expanding outwards, destroying all these things.
So did they start there? Because I mean that matches.
Don't know.
God
well, I
damn.
do know, but
We don't know.
I was using that as an example.
I know. I'm just saying, Boyata Tree, and then
I'm
Vandoria is the next
assuming-
place that we went.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
Which means
assuming
that it's
they
in the
started
warpath.
And this is
And it would make sense,
So it's
too, why they started
all-
there,
so
because
it's
that
all
whole
Yunari's
entire
fault.
place.
yeah,
It's all Yunari's
Oh,
fault.
shit.
but that's
I
why,
don't know about that, bud.
That's why
I didn't forget about that, buddy. Didn't forget about that, Henry.
God damn it. Well,
It was just one arrow.
it was one arrow. And it was one arrow that
It was a misguided arrow.
it misguided, and it had the best.
You had good intentions, bud.
Yeah. But since I haven't been on Real Talk for a while, I wanted to just say that's why like the goblins were on the coast, weird place. They had fled from their homes, which would be, more inland. And all these monsters are ending up in all these weird places because they're all fleeing towards the coast. And that's why you haven't been to any other big cities yet. And there will be big cities coming up. Some have been mentioned, in the past that you haven't been to yet, but you've been ending up in all these real obscure town,
Are we ever
small
going to go to the
towns.
Dwarven Silver Rod?
Ooh, that'd be fun.
And that's a place that they're still going.
Finworth has a great. He thinks he speaks Dwarven, but it's like when someone thinks they speak Spanish and they're just talking at a Mexican food restaurant.
And they just say gracias.
Exactly. Yes.
God damn it.
It's gonna be fun.
Or they just add like "lo" or something at the end of the word.
Yeah, exactly.
But you'll notice.
I guess some
that-
chippos. Thank you, oh.
Jesus, white people.
The worst.
They're just not they. I just I really wanted to emphasize that everything is kind of going to shit. Especially, it was going to shit before the time jump. Now, you're kind of seeing that humanity and
Humanity kind of
everybody
lost.
in general is all they can do is slowly move away, and now you're kind of noticing these patches of of the coalition members expanding, and they're kind of everywhere now. Like they have a lot of allies now because now it started off with 10 people, now it's potentially thousands of people.
Oh God. Well, I guess that's good for us.
And with this episode, I had stated that the Tritons are, they're members of the coalition. A lot of them are, because they're aware and potentially fighting.
Well,
these armies.
I also feel like initially the coalition was much more of an underground secret organization,
And
it was, and that was because none of this stuff was happening yet. We were trying to prevent it,
It
right?
was
And now that
small.
it's here, now it's like, okay, guys, hey, over here,
We're the guys.
we're the guys who are trying to stop it.
Yeah, and it started off with just more frequent demon and devil attacks around, little things like them possessing kids or, just destroying really small towns. And now it's expanded to where it turned from, not very often were these things happening to, oh, this is more common. Now we have demons and devils everywhere. Now we have armies being built of these things for some reason.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like it's maybe why we don't know the specifics of why they're doing it. It just seems like they're just wanting to destroy everything, and that's their main goal.
I feel like that does
Kind of reminds me of like the Netflix Castlevania. You know how the demons come back after the year or whatever, and just like enslave the whole town.
Yeah,
and start like taking over.
What's happening is, and I actually didn't state this in the episode, and if the right question was asked, I would have specified. But what's happening is all these planes are kind of beginning to merge together in a sense. So the Nine Hells is beginning to merge with the material plane that you're on.
All right. That's not good. I don't like that.
As well as the demon's plane too.
Yeah, that's why I don't like that.
And these planes are all kind of colliding together slowly. You also know now that Asmodeus is walking on your planet.
He's actually physically involved in some shit.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah.
You know what I am a big fan of? Dungeon Junkies. Motherfucker! And if you are a big fan of Dungeon Junkies, and if you liked this talk of the most recent episode, and a whole lot of other shit that we got into. We got into a lot of stuff. It was a long episode. We haven't seen each other in a while.
Yeah, we had a lot to talk about.
We've been real lonely without you here.
And not only that,
you bitch.
We just like talking about tabletop games.
Never leave us again. And if you don't want him to ever leave us again, you best go and follow us on Twitter at Dungeon Junkies. Or, I'm sorry, no S, at Dungeon Junkie.
There you go.
Yep. Follow us on Twitter there, and you'll catch all of the newest episodes and some newest shenanigans, and you'll never know what you'll get, but you'll definitely get all the latest news there. If you want even more information, go to DungeonJunkies.com. Now, I can't stress this enough. This is the place to go if you want the Dungeon Junkies information. We got some future content coming out there that's going to be great, but we also have Patreon, iTunes, Twitter, everything, the email,
Instagram, every single episode
right
on the website.
So go to DungeonJunkies.com and get that shit there.
And you can even subscribe directly to the RSS feed.
Oh, boom, there you go. Do that. I love you if you do that. I love you specifically, you.
Yep.
Nobody else will.
Thank
as much
you.
As me.
Nope.
But I tell you what, not even your mama will love you as much as I will if you go to iTunes and give me that 5-star.
Please give
me that 5-star.
We've been getting more and more lately. It's really cool.
We really appreciate it. Thank you.
It's so fucking hot, bro.
We get so excited.
Listen, I gotta change my.
I saw the new 5-star that we got.
Tell me about it.
I got sweaty.
I did. Me too. You know what? I had to change my underoos after I heard that 5-star review because I just got too excited. I was like, oh shit, I can't get into the boys' hole and record with some sweaty ass underoos like this. This is disrespectful to everybody else.
Freeball it.
So I changed. If you want me to freeball it or change, then leave those 5-star reviews. Give me all that fucking love. If you
don't want him to do that, you can still give us 5 stars.
Exactly. Well, you know what? Tell me what you want me to wear, and 5-star it, and I'll wear it. Yeah. If you got some criticisms, if you don't like what you heard, I'm real fucking sorry. Kenny's kind of a dick, and he don't give a shit. Yeah. But he's like that, like real cool dick where he's like Fonzie beating on the jukebox. He don't care what you have to say.
He's that cool dick. Like you just got your dick out of the refrigerator.
Exactly. He's that
not frozen.
He's that free. Yeah. Oh.
He's not cold-hearted. He's not cold-hearted.
At a brisk 40 degrees.
We got that fridge dick here, but not the rest of us. We real soft and warm. And if you got some criticism,
like you microwaved a dick.
Exactly. We got that nuke dick. Don't put that shit on Twitter. Because I don't want to hear it there. I don't want to hear those 3-star reviews. If you're putting 3-star reviews, what the fuck is wrong with you?
What is wrong with
You're an asshole.
Why would you do that? 3-star review.
But I tell you what, Kenny, if you email that to me, it will get directly to my eyeballs, to my eye holes, my ocular cavities. I will read that email directly and all your criticisms. Hey, fuck you, you suck. Well, that'll go directly to my soul. Email it. But if you put it on iTunes, it won't go to my soul at all.
No.
Okay.
We don't have souls either. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan, I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.